curvature. It's all wrong. Calculations that you guys, flat earthers, are using for calculating your curvature is completely incorrect. And I just know it is, because it doesn't make sense. It makes absolutely no sense, okay? Like, I have lived on this planet for 37 years now, and the calculations don't add up. And I went to Google, and apparently Google is saying the same kind of calculations, etc. But look, I'm just going to keep it real simple here. This is something that everybody can get their head around, and it should make complete sense, okay? So, according to Google, the circumference of the Earth is 24,901 miles, which is 40,075 kilometers. And if you take that 24,000, we're going to work on miles just because most of you are Americans, 901, sorry, and if we divide that by 360 degrees, then we would expect to see 69, my thing's freezing, hope you can see this, I can't see it, okay, 69.170, we'll just round it to 69, 69 miles per, we'd expect to see 1 degree of curvature every 69 miles. That's what I'm trying to say. And if you look at it like that, well, it starts to make sense then, doesn't it? Because at the end of the day, because of the atmosphere and things like that, we can't actually, when we're standing on the Earth, we can't really see that far. You know, like from where I live in Geelong, you can see Melbourne on a really clear day, but the size of a fingernail. And basically what I'm trying to say is that you know, with these new calculations, suddenly it brings everything back into a more realistic perspective. I mean, do you guys have any actual idea how big the Earth is? I mean, it takes 16 hours to fly from Melbourne, 16 hours in a plane to fly to Los Angeles from Melbourne. I mean, this place is pretty freaking huge. It's not tiny. And you're not going to see curvature just right there, you know, it's not just there, okay? You're going to have to go 69 miles just to get 1 degree of curvature. But going off these calculations that you guys are using, 8 inches per square mile, holy crap. I mean, the curves are going to be right there if that was the case. You'd literally be falling away before your very eyes. I'm sure those calculations are for something like more like the moon, you know what I mean? Like maybe in the moon you would expect to see curvature or it falling away in front of your eyes because it's a whole lot smaller than the Earth. But on the Earth, you're not going to get 15 degrees of curvature between here and Melbourne, right? Like that's just not going to happen. And when I was sitting there doing the calculation, I'm like, my head was caving in. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Like, I've driven from here to Queensland before, which is 2,000 kilometres, okay? And over 2,000 kilometres, just quickly do some calculations because 69 miles is 110 kilometres. So if I go 2,000 kilometres to Brisbane and divide that by 111, you get 18 degrees of curvature between here and Queensland. Now that is realistic. That's the kind of curvature you're not actually going to really notice too much, you know, like you're not going to be able to see it standing on the ground, that's for sure. You would need to be up in a plane, 40,000 feet, where you can actually see, you know, 200 or 300 kilometres wide below you, and then you might actually start to see some curvature, which is what I can see when I was in the plane when I came home from Bali just recently. I took some photos because this was had just started coming up, this flat earth thing, and I really wanted to debunk it, and I thought, well, I'll take a photo from a plane, and of course, you know, I come back, post that, and everyone's like, oh, you bubble windows, and oh, even though the wing has no curve in it, and I'm presenting a picture that has got curves, or like you can see the horizon. The sun was just coming up, but I'd just woken up out of sleep at 4 a.m. on my flight home from Bali to see the sun just about to come up over the horizon, and I took a photo, and you can see perfectly the curvature of the Earth. There was no curve in the wing, which I was sitting above, but still wasn't enough to debunk anybody. Nobody took that seriously. It was all like, no, it's perspective, like blah blah blah, you know, whatever excuse. Well, actually, you know what, the truth is I've actually presented quite a little bit of evidence, and none of it's been disputed. But that's because flat earthers tend to just run away when something gets confronted with them, even though they'll sit there and say, show me curve, can you prove this, do this, and the minute you do, they fucking disappear off the page. It's gone. See you later. Don't want to know about it. No, they want to go off and keep researching this freaking stupid flat earth. Go and watch another bloody amateur YouTube video of somebody who thinks they've got something to present, and yeah, like far out. So yeah, look, I'm gonna look. I don't want to crap on too much. I'm gonna make this boring otherwise. But at the end of the day, looking at the curvature, you know, let's get a realistic perspective of what the actual curvature of this Earth is, because the Earth is huge. It's massive. It is ginormous, okay? Compared to us, we're like fleas on a dog's back, okay? We are tiny, okay? When we're so insignificant to the size of the Earth, really. You know, when you're on a plane, you can see little cars, tiny little cars driving along the road. You know, like we are very small in comparison to the size of the Earth. And that is why when you're standing on the Earth, you cannot see curves. No, you can't. And I'll totally agree with that. Yes, the horizon is flat as far as the eye can see, Eric Dubay. It is, yes, because we're standing on the freaking ground, you idiot. But even if we go up in a balloon or if we go on a plane, you won't accept that as bloody evidence either, because you're brainwashed, bloody ignorant people, all of you. Anyone that actually believes this shit, really come off it. Look, I'm not even going to. I mean, I've had some really good laughs watching people with their videos, and Santos Bonacci posting all this crap on his page, like calling us idiots and dickheads and calling us dunces and whatever else, like because we won't all just buy into this flat earth theory. Well, like, you know, if there was actually one shred of evidence in any of the videos that had been presented, even just one, that made me double guess my own understanding of what I know the Earth to be, I might not be here today. But I'm here because video after video is being posted, and every single one of them I've been able to debunk just by thinking logically and looking at the other side of the coin. Okay? You know, look, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but, you know, I don't want to be the messenger really, but it looks like I have to be, because nobody else is going to stand up. Look, most ballers would just say fuck it and walk away. You know, this is crap. I don't know that the Earth is not flat. I'm not going to even look into this. I'm just going to walk away, because obviously these people can't see logic, okay? Right? It's not the dumbed down fucking ballers. It's the dumbed down flat earthers. The ones that haven't actually got a really good, you know, critical thinking brain that can look at both sides of a coin and actually weigh up what makes more sense. I'm a highly intuitive person. I work on intuition most of the time, you know, and if something doesn't make sense to me, then it usually gets dismissed straight away, because I don't have time for bullshit, you know. The truth is simple, and that is true, you know. So, you know, I like to keep it simple. So let's keep these calculations of the Earth simple, and maybe it'll make sense, okay? All right, anyway, moving on. I have got a lot of stuff to present here. I've been taking notes for about 2 months now, and I've got pages and pages of crap here like pages of notes, okay, of stuff that I want to present in this video that I'm going to use to debunk the flat Earth. So it's not just the calculations. I've got heaps of shit. Alright, I'm gonna get on with it. Alright, let's go. Okay, here we are in Stellarium. I'll just open this up, and the location is set for where I live, which is in Geelong in Australia. And basically I'm here to show you something that the flat Earth isn't showing you. And I'm just going to grab the date and time window. Okay, so this is live now, what you can see in the sky here. This program is what I've actually used to learn most of the stars and the planets. So this correlates perfectly with what you can actually see outside and from any vantage point on Earth. So you can set your location for anywhere, and what you see on screen is what you're going to be seeing out in the sky. And I've been using it for several years, so I can verify that it does actually all correlate perfectly. This is south at the moment, and I'm just going to take you around to the north to begin with, and we're going to have a look at Polaris. And first thing I'm going to do is just drop the floor out here so we can see Polaris. Okay, so this is Polaris here. Okay, and you can see up here it says Polaris. So that is the North Pole star, the center of the flat Earth dome from the theory. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you, I'm going to skip through the months, and I'm just going to show you what's going to happen to Polaris over the next 12 months from my perspective here. Okay, so the first thing we do is we're just going to skip through the months, and you're going to notice that it is actually moving in a anti-clockwise direction around. All these stars are moving in an anti-clockwise direction around Polaris. So and the Polaris star is just going around in a really little small circle. Okay, and I'm just going to go back now, show you what it does when it goes backwards. Back to the current date and time. Oops, a bit far. Okay, and now we're going to go back over to the southern hemisphere, and this is south. Okay, and just over here we've got the Southern Cross. Okay, that's the Southern Cross there. And I'm just going to quickly search up this particular star. Okay, alright. So this, we don't actually have a pole star as such in the south. We have a group of stars here that are about as close as it gets to the center of the South Pole dome. So we're going to use this star here, and I'm just going to skip through, and I'm just going to show you what's going to happen over the next 12 months with this particular star. And if you're just watching the Southern Cross go around, I actually can't even see it now, but you can see that this pole star is just making a really small circle the same way that Polaris does, and that the entire southern sky is rotating in a clockwise direction around that particular star or area of the sky. So basically that is the South Pole Star. So this completely debunks the idea that the Polaris star is the center of the dome. Like, there has to be two domes, and what happens when you put two domes together is you get a globe, you get a sphere, okay? And the reason that it's rotating clockwise in the south is because we're upside down. In fact, both of those are going in the same direction, and it's just that perspective-wise, because we're upside down, they appear to be opposites. So it's a pretty simple thing. If you want to check this out for yourself, go right ahead. But here it is. I've just debunked the flat Earth again.
Is there any unexplored land left on this Earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. And not up around the North Pole, because it's getting crowded up there now, because they find out it's really usable, not only to live in, but militarily. But strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole from Middle America. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
That's a tremendous
So
challenge.
there's a lot of adventure left down at the bottom of the world.
Admiral, do you hope to see that?
I do. And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole from Middle America.
Venus. Okay, so one of the evidence videos that's been presented has been the Venus video. It's titled Flat Earth Sky Debunked or something, I don't know. And it has a little bit of the Venus transit video, which I'm not even going to talk about really, because the second half of the video that's being presented has a video in it that has been recorded from inside behind a window, and it's supposed to be of Venus, but it's completely out of focus, and I'm going to show you that with a video that I've actually made where it's been out of focus, so you can see what happens when it's out of focus. And then I'm going to show you a video that I made of Venus when it's actually in focus, so that you can see that it does actually have a body. The main thing about the Venus video that really bothers me is that it sort of more or less says that all of the stars and planets are just luminous bodies, that they're transparent, that you can't see them, that they don't actually exist, they're just lights. And I can tell you right now, I've watched the sky for a long time. I've actually bought a digital camera that had a 2,000 times digital zoom and a 50 times optical zoom, and I would actually zoom in on the planets with my tripod, and I would actually film them from what they look like when we're sitting down here, because quite often they get put on YouTube as UFOs, and people always wondering what they are, these lights, because some of the planets like Sirius and Canopus, particularly Arcturus, and what's the other one? Even Arcana. All of these, when they're on the horizon, they flicker and they make colours like red and blue, and they flash. And they do actually look very intriguing through the scintillation and the atmosphere. They appear to be like a UFO or something quite unusual. And they caught me, and that's where I got involved with them, is because I was watching them like, are they UFOs? And it took me a little while to figure out exactly what I was seeing. And I did that through watching lots of multitudes of videos on YouTube and reading all the comments and actually getting pointed in the right direction to debunking myself, basically. So then I went and bought myself a camera, and I started actually filming them to help people find out what they were seeing in the skies. So I've spent a good couple of years where I would spend maybe an hour or two outside each night and watching the sky and filming the planets and the main stars that you can see, the bigger ones anyway, and putting them on YouTube to give people a really good idea of what they're actually seeing. Because at the end of the day, look, it's not that I don't believe in UFOs, it's just that a lot of what people think are UFOs aren't really UFOs. And so, you know, I'm a truth seeker and I want to know the truth, and I think people deserve the truth. So that was part of the reason why I used to do this, right? And so anyway, those videos are coming up. Okay, so this is the Venus video that I was talking about, that is completely out of focus. And basically what we have here is a transparent looking thing, which is huge. It's, yeah, basically completely out of focus, and that's what happens when you record from behind a window, which is what this guy is doing. Looks pretty trippy, hey? Anyway, the next video that is teed up is my dodgy version of a planet behind a window, and this is me trying to record Jupiter from behind a window. And as you can see, it's completely out of focus. It just doesn't work, okay? Okay, so this is a recording of Venus, Mercury and Antares up the top. And yeah, so that's Venus, what she looks like when she's actually in focus, and that's about as big as she gets. She doesn't get much bigger than that with my 2000 times digital zoom. That's as large as she appears. Also, the rotation of the Earth makes her move pretty quickly across the screen, so it's very hard to actually film these stars. It takes a fair bit of time and practice to get it right. And that line that you can see running through the middle of Venus, that is her dust ring, and that reflects light as well. And she always looks like that when you zoom in and have a look at her from Earth. I've recorded her again recently and she still appears exactly the same as that. Okay, so, and there's the stellarium screenshot from that same alignment, because that was only very temporary. And this is a clip of the moon. This is the moon coming up over the horizon. It's slightly south of east. It's recorded from an elevated position over the top of, looking over the top of Geelong. So that's what the lights are that you can see. And we're looking, yeah, like I said, southish.
Well, shut up otherwise.
And as you can see, she is rather large coming up over the horizon. And she's not smaller, getting bigger, like she would be if it was the flat Earth. The colour is due to scintillation and the atmosphere. So it appears quite orangey. The colour might sort of fade out actually with the uploading of this video, but she does appear quite red when she's on the horizon a lot of the time. And as you can see, it's actually rising up over the horizon in pretty much less than a minute. And her size is not changing. I've actually recorded this whole clip. It goes for about 8 minutes or something, but I've edited it to put into this video because I don't want to bore the hell out of you. But quite soon I've cut a little bit out, and I'm going to get to the bit where I actually zoom in so you can see the craters of the moon, so that you can actually see that it is the moon. Okay, so that's where I've cut it, and now you can see as we zoom in, you can see the craters. And I've kept this video going for a little bit longer just because I did actually record the compass as well, just just for information's sake. So I'm going to torture you for another minute or two with this video. And yeah, and then you'll be able to have variation of where she is actually rising. Sorry, verification of where she's coming up. I mean, even just the fact that it's in the southeast, I mean, that's going to debunk your flat Earth as well, really. Okay, so just hang in there for one more second and you'll be able to see the compass. Okie dokie. Oh yeah, look, what I really need to say here too is that, you know, the majority of the reason why I don't actually believe in the flat Earth is because the theory of flat Earth says that the pole star Polaris in the northern hemisphere is the center of the dome, and Earth Debunked A in his video even says that from the southern hemisphere you can see this pole star, and that is completely incorrect, and it's just another one of those little throw it in there, it'll, you know, add some more intriguing excitement to this whole thing if people think that they can see the Polaris star from anywhere on the Earth. Well, the truth is that in the northern hemisphere the stars do appear to rotate anti-clockwise around Polaris, and in the southern hemisphere we can't actually see our pole star. We don't have an actual pole star as such, but there is a group of stars very close to where the pole star would be, and if you click on those then you can see that they do exactly the same thing as Polaris. Okay, so there's another thing that will actually debunk the other idea of there not being a South Pole. The only way that we could possibly have the Earth rotating around this pole star, and it's actually clockwise in the southern hemisphere, is if there was a South Pole. Okay, like, and it wouldn't be called a pole if there was no other end of it, unfortunately, because a pole like this, a pole has two ends. Okay, if it was a north center dome thing, then that's what it would be called. It's called a pole. Okay, so it's a pole, and basically the reason why it appears to rotate anti-clockwise in the southern hemisphere, or clockwise, sorry, in the southern hemisphere, is because we're upside down in the southern hemisphere. We're actually standing on the planet, on this little planet, except that you can't see that. My little globe. Sorry, I just bought this just today. Because, I don't know, well, here I am. And anyway, so yeah, so we're standing down here, and this is the southern hemisphere down here, and we are looking downwards basically at the South Pole, and that way we'll call up because the north is the top, and yeah, so that debunks the bloody flat Earth theory as well. Okay, because you're saying the South Pole is the whole perimeter of the flat Earth, and no, that's not true, because from where I am, I'm very close to the South Pole, and I can actually feel the bloody South Pole. It is freezing here in winter. That wind from the Antarctic winds, they literally go through you here, and you can freeze in a matter of seconds if you walk outside. It is so cold. Now, it doesn't snow because we're too close to the ocean. There's no snow here, but it is like on the borderline of snowing. It is very cold, and those southerly winds that we get from Antarctica, like, there is absolutely no denying them at all. They are freezing, all right, and like, you know, my bones ache these days because of that cold wind. Like, it is so cold, it's like it gets into you. And the other thing is, like, you know, you still can't explain the Aurora Australis. You can't explain the 24-hour sun at the South Pole. You can't explain the fact that it's been circumnavigated by multitudes of people, and they can do it in about a month. I mean, you guys keep referring back to like a 1700s Captain Cook. Oh, it took him like 2 years to circumnavigate. You look, how about getting with the times? People have done this recently, okay? Like, let's look at what they've done with the modern technology and having all the satellite tracking and all the things that we actually have available these days that makes the job a little bit easier, okay? So Captain Cook did not have those advantages, okay? There was in a time when obviously things were a little bit different. He also sailed from England, like that would have been calculated into that time that it took. Let's just be fucking realistic about this. Like, let's not, you know, pretend that the people that have done it recently don't exist. You know, only Captain Cook exists. Like, so this is the whole thing. You guys constantly contradict yourselves, constantly, you know. Like, you can sit there and make a dodgy little video with your own computer or a couple of animated things, and this is taken like gospel, right? Anyone that, because it says flat Earth, and proof of flat Earth, and it's taken as gospel. Whereas if a globe comes along with a photo or any type of video or anything, it just gets debunked straight away because that's all NASA, it's CGI, it's this, it's that. You know, come on, fair game. Let's go. Like, you want to make dodgy videos, you want to refer to YouTube amateurs, you want to use all that stuff, right? Well, then you've got to be able to look at what the ballers are presenting, you know? You've got to be able to say, well, you know, I'll look at your video, I'll look at your photos as well, because, you know, really, honestly, at the end of the day, you are being very biased, you're closed-minded, you're ignorant, right? And you're obviously not, you know, paying much attention to the actual facts and the globe side of it, right? You're only looking one way, and that is at flat Earth, and looking for more evidence. And you know what? You're going to be looking for a hell of a long time, because you are never going to find any proof of the flat Earth, because it doesn't exist. And I hate to be the bearer of bad tidings, like I said before, you know, but at the end of the day, somebody's got to tell you. Somebody's got to bring you back to reality. Come on. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't make any difference if it's flat or round anyway. What difference does it make? You guys seem to think that having, you know, being able to expose a lie like this is going to bring the Illuminati down. Well, good luck with that. These guys own the whole world. What you need to do is make your own life around you work for you in the way that you want it to work. Just pretend they don't even exist, because they don't. They're not in your face. I mean, sure, you know, we all have to, in the Western world, we need to, you know, make a living, make some money. We have to work with their system that they've got in place. But yet that doesn't stop you from creating the ideal lifestyle that you want for yourself. You know, it might make it harder. You might have to work around some things, you know. But the thing is, I'm living in the Western world, and I have debts and I have bills to pay, and I have things to do. And I, you know, like, I could just sit there in the corner and say, well, you know, I don't want anything to do with the Western world anymore. I know better. But I'm going to disappoint a whole lot of people around me, because I'm basically going to be just checking in debt, you know, like, I'm not going to be contributing anything because suddenly I don't like the Western world. You know, you've got to find a balance, guys, you know, and I think I've done that. You know, I've been working on it for 2 years. I've been on the sovereignty quest. I've looked at all that, you know, and seen how I can apply that to my life. I don't vote. I don't really have much to do with the government, you know, these types of things. You know, I'm walking away from them. I really wash my hands of them. But I still have to pay my rent, and I still have to live. So I still have to contribute something, and I have to get that money from somewhere so that I can actually do the things that I want to do, like traveling and, you know, going out and enjoying my time. I can't expect, you know, the world to give me something unless I'm willing to put in for it. So, you know, you just have to be realistic about sovereignty, because at this very point in time, you know, look, as much as we're all advocates for it, it's not really easy to become a sovereign citizen. You know, you need life skills. You need, you know, skills to be able to build your own house. You need to be able to live off the land. You need to do all these things, you know. You need to be fully equipped for it, you know, and those are things that we are all, you know, these are things that we might, in an ideal world, like to do, but aren't always possible for people, you know. I mean, where do you get the money to buy a house, you know, so that you can start your own garden, veggie garden, these type of things, you know, like you have to, we all have to find a balance in this world, okay? You don't have to conform to society. You can still have your things your way. That's fine. I think that's good, you know. I'm a real advocate for that. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to stand up to police that have got guns, and I'm not going to stand up to the Illuminati because, you know, if I just even tried to do anything to them, they'd just kill me. I'd be dead. And then what was the point? Do you know what I mean? So I'm just going to get on with my own life. All right, anyway, look, it's enough about sovereignty because at the end of the day, you know, that's not what this is about. We're talking about flat Earth, right? But then you guys seem to be bringing this whole idea of the Illuminati into it, like it exposes them and their ways, and we've all got to fight for the truth. I mean, nothing much is going to change until it's time, basically, and that will happen on a mass conscious level. Like it's something that we're just going to have to wait it out until the right time, and we'll make the move when we can to make the changes, you know. But in the meantime, they're ramping up their security and they're ramping up, you know. But this is the beginning of the end, and if you don't already know that, then you haven't done enough research in that field, because these guys are doing it to themselves. They are actually going to. It will all end eventually, and we will see, you know, better days. I think it's just not going to happen. It's not happening real quick. It's a slow process. One day you're going to wake up and go, oh my God, all those burdens have actually been lifted. But, you know, and we need to be ready, and we need to contribute what we can in the meantime. But at the same time, you know, I don't think sitting behind a computer claiming the Earth is flat is going to really get you very far. Well, considering the Earth's not flat, like, it's just bullshit. You're going to get debunked by somebody who can really fucking debunk you. Like, I can try to debunk you, but chances are you're probably just going to ignore me and just keep moving on. But somebody will debunk you properly, you know, soon, because it's going to piss other people off as well. The fact that you guys, you know, have written off the moon, the sun. Hello. You've written them off. You've written off the whole sky, like the whole entire, like literally half of what we can see in our lives. You've written it off as if it's just fiction, complete fiction, and that it's just some sort of holographic projection thing that has been sitting there to, you know, to deceive you for the last bloody 10,000 years, too, mind you. Excuse me. Like, apparently, maybe the Egyptians put it there for us. Who knows? But at the end of the day, yeah, look, you've just got to be realistic about this. Really, you've got to bring your brain back into the real world, and you know, put things in a place where you can deal with them. And yeah, I've totally gone off track here, haven't I? And probably, you know, really, I don't even know how much of this crap that I need to use. But yeah, I'm going to show you Polaris, getting back on track, and I'm going to show you how that works in Stellarium. And I'm also going to, I've got in my list of things to present to you, I've got some magnetic water as well. Water is and can be magnetic. Salt can be magnetic, and the ocean water is full of salt. So the chances of, so this whole idea of water doesn't curve, well, that's a big load of crap, because it does curve, and it curves a lot, actually. We see water curving all the time, and it's crazy, you know, just because somebody says it 100 times, water doesn't curve, doesn't mean you can't think for yourself, okay? Just because Eric Debay or whoever is sitting there saying water doesn't curve, doesn't mean that it's true, okay? You've really got to think for yourself in this stuff. You have to think, does water actually curve? Go and put water in a balloon and have a look. I mean, just think about it. Come on, water curves. Of course it fucking curves. What are waves? Huh? You know, the water is constantly moving in the ocean. And why? Because of the moon. And here you guys are saying, oh, it's just some luminous body. Yeah, well, the moon has powers. The moon pulls the tides. The moon has effects on our bodies. And even Santos has talked about this in his videos, you know. It makes your nails and your hair grow. It has an effect on so many things. How can you deny that the moon is just even exists? Or, you know, how can you deny the moon? I don't understand how you could possibly deny the moon. It is absolutely, like, this is a disgrace, really. This is really, honestly, freaking, I don't even know how to say what I'm trying to say. It's just full on. I can't even believe you guys just would say, oh yeah, the moon and the sun are just like discs, and they've got no value whatsoever to us, when it's clear that without the sun or the moon, that we wouldn't even be here. We would not even be here today without them, okay? Like, come on, give them some credit, please. You know, luminous bloody bodies. What a load of crap. Anyway, look, yeah, so I've got some lovely videos to present to you, and I'm just going to pop them in now. All right. Speak to you soon. Okay, so this is just a conclusion to the video. I've added a section in regards to the Vedic teachings as well, just because that is something that a lot of people are writing on. You know, this flat earth thing was in the Bible, and yeah, and basically it's in history, and it's, you know, so look, I've just added a small section into this video about that because I wanted to touch on that subject as well. And so basically I just, you know, wanted to say that this video really is just for those people that are still in two minds about the flat earth, whether it's real or not. And I think, you know, I've provided quite a bit of evidence here to really debunk the flat earth. And it's the reason why I don't believe in the flat earth anyway. You know, I can't change what I know about the sky. And until the flat earth can explain all of what I know and what I'm presenting here, well, it's going to change, you know, so in my mind anyway. So anyway, look, I'm sorry if I've upset a few people. I can imagine I may have, you know, this hasn't been easy for me. I've got to say, it's taken me a week to do this because, you know, like a couple of times I've had to put it down and just like, is it really worth doing this, you know? But at the end of the day, I keep finding things online, and I think, you know, there are people out there that probably appreciate this little bit of information to help them work out what they're seeing and well, what's real and what's not. And the main intention of this is just to put the truth out there, or put you know, the other side of the story. Anyway, look, guys. You know, I'm not here really to debate this. This is my perspective. This is what I know, and I don't know how else to really, you know, like when I'm typing this stuff up as a, you know, as a response to somebody, it sort of seems to fall on deaf ears. So really, I'm thinking the video will show you what I'm saying, and you know, and yeah. So anyway, look, yeah, look. I hope that, you know, you get it. I hope that you understand where I'm coming from. And I wish you all the best of luck, everybody out there. If you want to keep going with your flat earth, then, you know, go right ahead. Like, anyway, thank you for watching this presentation. And yeah, hopefully I'll catch you sometime soon, and not another debunking video. Okay, bye.
But before the modern era, the universe appeared much more comfortable and accommodating. Thus, medieval European cosmology placed the Earth in the center of a small spherical universe surrounded by the abode of God and the elect. In this study, we will explore an early Earth-centered conception of the cosmos from India. This cosmological system is presented in the Bhagavat Purana, or Srimad Bhagvatam, one of India's important sacred texts. We begin with a brief outline of this system. First of all, the Bhagavatam describes innumerable universes. Each one is contained in a spherical shell surrounded by layers of elemental matter that mark the boundary between mundane space and the unlimited spiritual world. The region within the shell is called the Brahmanda, or Brahma egg. It contains an earth disk called Bhumandala that divides it into an upper heavenly half and a subterranean half filled with amniotic water. Although Bhumandala literally means the circle or mandala of the earth, it has little in common with the earth on which we stand. The diameter of Bhumandala is given in the Bhagvatam, and it is about the size of the orbit of Uranus. Bhumandala is divided into a series of geographic features called oceans and islands. But these are geometrically perfect rings of cosmic size with no resemblance to irregular earthly continents. In the center of Bhumandala is the circular island of Jambudweep, with 9 subdivisions called Varshas. These include Bharatavarsha, which can be understood in one sense as India, and in another as the total area inhabited by ordinary human beings. Jambudweep is centered on the geometrically shaped Sumeru mountain, which represents the world axis and is surmounted by the city of Brahma, the universal creator. The Bhagavatam presents astronomy in geographical and mythological language, and the mode of presentation is different from the familiar modern approach. Although the Earth disk of Bhumandala may look naively unrealistic, careful study shows that the Bhagavatam uses it to represent at least 4 different reasonable and consistent models. These are 1. A polar projection map of the Earth globe. 2. A map of the solar system. 3. Topographical map of South Central Asia. 4. A map of the celestial realm of the demigods. There are bound to be contradictions when one structure is used to represent several different things in a composite map. But these do not cause a problem if we understand the underlying intent. We can draw a parallel with medieval paintings portraying several different parts of a story in one composition. This painting shows St. Peter in 3 different parts of a biblical story. Here is a similar painting from India showing 3 different parts of a story about Krishna. Such paintings contain apparent contradictions, such as the images of one character in different places. But a person who understands the storyline will not be disturbed by this. As source material, we will refer to the Bhagavat Purana and to several important commentaries on this text by traditional Indian scholars. We will also refer to the great Indian epic, the Mahabharata, to other sacred texts, including the Vishnu Purana, and to important Indian astronomical works, such as the Surya Siddhanta. Bhumandala as a planisphere. We begin by discussing the interpretation of Bhumandala as a planisphere, a polar projection map of the Earth globe. Each important interpretation of Bhumandala is obtained by focusing on a cluster of Bhumandala features and temporarily ignoring features outside the cluster. In this case, note that the ring-shaped islands and oceans of Bhumandala have widely varying scales as defined in the Bhagavatam. For now, we ignore this. The planisphere interpretation of Bhumandala requires that we give them all equal width. In fact, this is commonly done in diagrams of Bhumandala, such as this one, dating to the early 19th century. Bhumandala with equalized rings can be seen as a stereographic projection of a spherical Earth. Stereographic projection is an ancient method of mapping points on the surface of a sphere to points on a plane. This method can be applied to map a modern Earth globe onto a plane. This flat projection is called a planisphere. Bhumandala can likewise be viewed as a stereographic projection of a globe. Such globes exist in India. Here is one that was probably commissioned by Sawai Jai Singh, Raja of Jaipur, in the early 18th century. In this globe, the land area between the equator and the mountain arc is Bharatavarsha, corresponding to Greater India. India is well represented, but apart from a few references to neighboring places, this globe does not give a realistic map of the Earth. It was clearly intended for astronomical rather than geographical purposes. This globe does not give a realistic map of the Earth. This globe does not give a realistic map of the Earth.